Welcome to Penguin Talks. My name's Ciaran Thapar. Penguin is the UK's biggest publisher, and virtual Penguin Talks are events from Penguin's authors on the issues which matter most to young people right now. As I said, my name's Ciaran Thapar. I'm a writer and a youth worker. My first book is coming out next year on Penguin. It's called Cut Short: Youth Violence and Loss in the City. But the reason I'm here today is to talk to a very special guest, Big Narstie. That's why I'm sure you're all here. Big Narstie is a grime artist, a TV presenter, and an internet personality. He's one of the grime scene's greatest talents with over 60 million streams. He is the host of his award-winning Channel 4 show, The Big Narstie Show, and he has millions of YouTube views for his content. His first book, How to Be Nasty, is the story of his life and a guide to how to survive school and college, how to get a job, how to deal with family, friends, love, and pain. Ultimately, the book is about how to live your own life, not someone else's. How's it going, Narstie? It's good to join you.
Big up, my G. Thank you for having me. You get me? Man's there in the garrison, everybody trying to survive my mission.
It's an honor to be here. I've been a fan of Big Narstie since I was, 15. So it's genuinely an honor to be chatting to him right now and getting some inspiration.
Blessings, my G.
Just to kick it off, let's do what it says on the tin. So this talk is called How to Believe in Yourself. Just in a very general sense, right now, how do you think the best way, like, what does believe in yourself mean to you?
Believing in yourself is like, if you saw your car as an engine, as a vehicle, yeah, your body's a vehicle, yeah. Belief would have to be connected to the engine, but that's going to give you the willpower. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to get that type of willpower to do stuff, especially when you don't want to, it have to come from belief. Belief and urgency to elevate. Do you get what I mean? And that comes from an internal being, brother. And that, yeah, is what the whole thing means, to be honest.
And do you feel like you've had that since early?
No, I didn't have it from early. It's something, it comes up over time.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of, like, as a kid, I always knew I was going to be famous.
Okay.
But I didn't know in which way I was going to be famous. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, as a kid, I always wanted to be in the army. I wanted to be like Rambo. So I started in the Army Cadets, Royal Logistic Corps, 97th Regiment, Lance Corporal Lindo. Do you know what I mean? Became a little bugger. You get what I mean? Got kicked out, started doing bare holidays, summer holidays in New Cross, and my auntie Millie's, my cousin Annie. And then boom, started to love music. And then look at me now, Big Narstie.
So at the start then, you feel like, when was the first time you reckon you started like believing in yourself properly? Is there an early memory you have of when you were like, yeah, I'm believing in myself right now?
I think my first moment of belief, yeah, is when I used to do backflips off the top of the roof of Ferndale Sports Centre. Yeah, and must have been no more than like 9, 10. And as kids, we used to just climb everything. Everything was something to be climbed. Do you know what I mean? Like the floor was lava, don't touch the ground. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, we'll just climb. And Ferndale Sports Centre, yeah, on the top of the ledge, you could hang off it. And I was just always wanted to be a ninja. So I was like, I could backflip off this thing. The first 2 times I mashed up myself, but then after that, I could flip off that. And that was my first sense of belief in knowing I could do something, even though I was scared and pushing myself to do it.
And you carried that philosophy forward, to now.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of people watching this right now, a lot of young people who maybe not at school because of the current moment, but watching in a capacity of, being a student at school, maybe you're a teenager, you're still figuring out what your next steps are. Narstie, if you can think back to like school times for yourself, where did that like sense of belief come? Where did it manifest in a school environment?
Where did it manifest in a school environment?
Yeah, where do you have, like, school's difficult for a lot of people, right? And you talk about that in the book. And I guess I want to know, like, where your sense of belief, how you believed in yourself at school, despite a lot of barriers that might have existed.
My experiences of school, yeah, was really hard, but at the same time, really fun. As a part in my book when I say, my mum used to say, there's going to be a time in life when you're going to wish you went back to school. Because school life was a simpler way of life until when you get older. Having more freedom comes with more responsibility. Do you get what I mean? It seems difficult and hard when someone's telling you to go to bed at 10 o'clock or go to bed at 9 o'clock and get 8 hours of sleep. Do you know what I mean? It just seems like nagging, but when you get older, you realize how important 8 hours of sleep is to your body. Do you know what I mean? How it is to get an early night. So, but with school, yeah, I was fortunate. I managed to connect with 2 teachers who didn't look at all the pupils in school as a 9 to 3 o'clock job. Do you know what I mean? Because remember, you know, there's all different types of kids who learn in all different types of ways. I'm a smart child, but you couldn't just give me a textbook and say read from page 6 to 12 and sort it out on your own.
Yeah,
I'd struggle with that. Do you know what I mean? So if there wasn't a teacher who had the time and could understand that about me, I don't think I'd ever have progressed. Do you know what I mean? But fortunately, I came across a couple of teachers who put the effort into me and knew how to spur me and get my attention in different ways by being creative. Do you know what I mean? And my mum was very good at that. Like, my mum was a person of, like, whatever, I might have ambitions for my child to be a doctor, but if I see my child every day playing with a football outside, instead of trying to look at body parts and thinking anything doctorish, I'll just sign them up to a football school instead of, do you know what I mean? So I was very fortunate that my mum had that attitude with me. And she breeded a strong attitude in us within the fact of, my mum didn't really care if we had good results or bad results. The only thing that would really make her upset if we didn't try. So that was a very, that was my main motto and like, let me just say ethos, really. As long as I try, my mum will be all right. But if I come home and say I didn't try, she is not going to be chuffed at all. So that was my thing in school.
And in your book, you talk quite a lot about school, right? And you like, for people watching right now who might be at school, going through school, and thinking about their next steps, thinking about how maybe you don't enjoy school, maybe you do, but whatever, like you've got to get past that stage in your life and try and find your passion, try and find your thing, that's something that inspires you. Narstie, what do you think, like, writing the book and trying to take lessons from your own experience as a teenager, growing up in Brixton, Stockwell, and what did you try and what's your aim with the book, with that section of the book that talks about school? What would be like some of the key takeaways for some of the young people that are watching now that might want to read the book as well?
The key takeaways what I got from school, what I put in the book, yeah. All the fly guys in school now, yeah, you bust all the jokes and are Mr. Popular and super cool and do all the bunking and that. Compared to all the guys who stick it out and get their education and study, yeah, there's a big difference between those guys in 5 years from now. And yeah, school's not going to give you everything you need to go forward in life, but it's going to give you the ground basis of it, i.e. not to get bumped, i.e. knowing to read the contract, i.e. to know the difference between different words, i.e. knowing how to multiply, divide and subtract, i.e. not to be a dumb idiot. Do you know what I mean? So to everyone who wants to make loads of money and who wants to learn to build things, textiles, if you think about building stuff, textiles is the best ground start you're going to get to learn to build stuff. If you want to learn to do with a lot of money, All money is numbers. 100,000, 200,000, 2 million is 5 zeros and 6 zeros, 3 zeros, 2 zeros, 1 zero. We all know if you're on 1 zero, it's shit. Or language, sorry, kids. Yeah, but yeah. So school, yeah, is the ground basis, yeah, of you lot to tune into all of your talents and skills. After you apply that, is a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's.
And then, like, so outside of school, though, you're a big community guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, why do you think community is important? I think for me, especially, like, again, so I'm based in Brixton. I'm a youth worker here. My feeling of community is proper important to how I connect with people, to how I get education work done and do youth work and help others. Why do you think community is so important? And maybe, like, if you got a story about community from, again, when you were younger that helped you through stuff, then that'll be great.
The reason why a community is so big, yeah, and so important, because as a parent, you have 50%, I would say, 50 to 70% of infiltration into your child, yeah, of giving it the right teachings in morals, manners, respect.
Mm.
After that, yeah, your child is part of a community of hundreds of thousands of other children and other people. So, like it or not, let's just break down school hours. From the hours of 7:30 in the morning, yeah, to 4:30, 5 o'clock, depending on distance of your school, all those hours, your child is with the community, not at home. It's only as a parent to install all the right things in the child before it gets with the community and some principles, yeah, and morals, what it should live by. But then apart from that, you meet friends, you meet other people. So the reason why a community is so important, if a community is full of just bad things in that community, it's only going to rub off on your child. I was very fortunate that when I grew up, the era where I grew up in Brixton, yeah, like, other people weren't scared to beat other people's children for being bad. Like, my next door neighbor would give me a slap if she saw us doing something wrong and tell my mum, and escort me by the scruff of my neck to my doorstep and say, Jennifer, Tyrone was doing this and this and that, and I slapped him around the head. And she'd say, Rah, why didn't you slap him twice for that? Do you know what I mean? That's the type of community where, and in that same breath, yeah, of discipline, if a situation called for where, let's say, the police have come onto this area and they're moving a bit not right, the whole community's out there. Do you know what I mean? You wasn't afraid to leave your door open. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't be afraid to knock in if there was an incident, and that's the whole great thing about having a community. A lot of people are scared to knock their next door neighbor to ask in case of an emergency. The next door neighbor would be scared to come out and say anything. They just film from their window. Do you know what I mean? So without a community, yeah, there's no hope for anyone's child, my child, your child, because as human beings, we're social creatures, and we learn. Think about it. How does a baby first start to learn? By what it sees. What it sees its parents do. The most time, the reason why a baby says no the first time, because it gets told no a lot. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. Don't touch that. No, 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 no. You get what I mean? So community is definitely a must, man. Without community love, yeah, we can't function.
And how do you think you've been upholding that despite the lockdown? Because obviously it's a bit difficult right now to, like, the idea of community has completely changed in in 2-3 months.
Oh, 100%. It's been really hard, but then at the same time, it's been hard. But fortunately, social media has managed to keep a lot of people in connection and touch. The only thing with it is just a bit, you know the saying, evolve or be extinct, isn't it? Evolve or be extinct. For a lot of members, a lot of people who haven't got to grips with technology, i.e. me, myself, like this is something new for me, what I'm doing right now, blood. This is so gas. Do you get what I mean? Cause I'm seeing bare different screens. Like I used to see this stuff on TV films. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it's a refreshing time that technology's come so far where people can connect. But as I said, it goes back to being human beings. It feels good just to be around people and absorb their energy. It's like I performed at Wireless Festival last week, and to do a festival with no one there, no matter how much the technology's sick with all the flashing screens and all the backdrops and that, there's nothing better than 10,000 people say, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? You can't beat that. You can't beat that.
Yeah. Yes, it's the world we live in now. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, so how do you reckon, if you could give some advice to young people on lockdown right now, like I know we're talking about believing in yourself, but like for staying motivated, like what advice might you give to a young person right now who's experiencing lockdown and like staying motivated, staying on task of becoming who they want to be?
100%. Everyone in lockdown right now, first things first, yeah, you have to keep your mental, dog. Yeah, you have to keep your mental. So how you do that? Exercise, walk. Don't become don't make the lockdown make you scared to go outside. You know what I mean? Be safe, keep distance, but go out, walk in the park, breathe, enjoy the sunshine. You know what I mean? Like life is here to be lived, and also connect with the loved ones what are close to you by social media. And if you can pop around and see them or everyone go to a park in social distance style, you get me? Keep it percolating. But you can't make life depress you, man. It's too easy. Life's too easy to be depressing. You get what I mean? And I think if you stay in your house for too long periods of time, I think it kind of does that. Because just the pure energies of just being on the grass, you know what I mean? Like feeling the wind, seeing plants and stuff. It sounds stupid, but like we're human, we're actually like living things. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you must notice if you're in like bare buildings where there's no like grass or nothing, and everything's just tower blocks, you feel a bit drained. Because we're living creatures, man. You get what I mean? Connect with Mother Nature, man.
Yeah, I think going for walks is one of the regular things I've been telling young people I mentor. Like,
yeah, man.
It's so easy when now that everyone's even more reliant on social media and communicating this way. It's so easy just to forget other ways of of connecting with connecting with community, with local parks, etc. I think it's an important piece of advice.
Of course.
When you started out in grime, then, so when I was first listening to grime in like maybe 2003, 2004, you would have been in your late teens. You would have been like starting to make, earlier than that, but starting to make music and take it a bit seriously. Like, who was your biggest inspiration then? Or a few people maybe there.
At that time, when I first started making grime music, I was still discovering it myself. I'm a yardie, innit? Like my parents are Jamaican, innit? So I grew up on ragga and bashment and reggae and revival. You get me? And dancehall, forever dancehall. Like, the other ones there. Forever, ride never. So when I was like, Mom, we do grime and garage and boom, she's just like, that is just noise. You know, like full on noise. I love you, son, but that is a bag of noise in the house. So my like influences is like Bojo, Beres, Bob Marley, Pinchers. Do you know about Pinchers? Hey, green gongalero, them and there, 'cause some different things. I'm like, know know them Colombian man just bang bare reggaeton and that. You go, oh, who's your favorite song? You go, balido, balido, balido. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like my sound preference for music, yeah, was not the normal current. You get what I mean? I found and learned my music air genre after I started to get involved with grand music, and then after that, my boy Ledge put me onto Coldplay. You get what I mean? Like,
so you're mixing up.
Right. I come from a hardcore Jamaican like culture. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So R&B, hip hop, ragga, bashment, revival. You get what I mean? Like, I weren't on no Bon Jovi or none of that stuff. All those musical appetites came after. But then now, I'm hooked. Not on it. And then Eye of the Tiger changed it. You know, when you hear Eye of the Tiger, family, it's a different thing.
I'm just going to say quickly, because I forgot to say it before, the feed, so the comment feed is open for questions right now. So if you're watching right now, refresh it. And if you can't see it, you can refresh it. And then Narstie will be answering questions soon.
Now. On the bell. Oh, you should get on the bell.
Exactly. So just to stay on music then, so how have you kept believing in yourself as you've become famous, as you've become a big name in British culture? How have you kept that sense of belief? How have you kept that motivation forward all the way from back when you were listening, you know, you first started making grime?
I'm just a very stubborn person, to be honest, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I first started making music, like, I sound awful. I sound totally awful. Do you know what I mean? And when I first started making music, the whole reason behind making music was just a way for me to vent. There was a lot of things that I couldn't say out in public, isn't it? So how I felt, I found it very hard to express my emotions. So music was a bit like a personal thing for me. Do you know what I mean? So when people was like, oh, I don't think you're good, that just, it gave me the fuel what I needed. Do you know what I mean? Just the pure fact that I'm going to prove you wrong. And I'm getting two things out of it. I'm getting great emotional comfort from it. And soon, this is going to change me and my family's life. Yeah. And the fact that you said I'm shit, watch what I'm going to do. And boom, my ignorant and stubbornness persevered through. And when I say ignorant and stubbornness, I had to be ignorant and stubborn to my self-doubt. A lot of people don't progress in life because of self-doubt. Not because of anyone else holding you back, because of that small voice in your head saying, do you think you're good enough? Do you think people are going to like it? What's so good about me? All of these little things. Those little words turn into big thoughts on the shoulder. Then before you know it, that stopped you from elevating and going forward, because now you're stuck on hesitant mode, thinking, oh, what if it doesn't get 100 views? What if it doesn't get 1,000 views? What about if it doesn't get 1,000,000 views? Oh, well, no. The first things first, you do it because you believe it. All the songs I made, I didn't care if anyone listened to it or like it. It was a way for me to vent. It was my feelings. It was my emotion. It was how I was feeling at the time. Do you know what I mean? So for that, I could listen to it 1,000 times. Just became fortunate that other people share certain emotions and certain feelings as the I.
And they connected with it.
And connected with it. You know what I mean? So it's like, when it's pure, it just seems to work.
Yeah, and I think that purity evidently has come from you realizing early on that, you know, that the most important part of making that music was to serve yourself, right? And in my appreciation of music and my youth work, which combines a lot of music with it, I think music is such a powerful way for young people to vent and get their experience across, but it's also everyone has their own version of that, right? It might be sport, it might be academics. I'm getting the bell of approval, I hope.
Come. No, the one they're hearing. Sound the big thing.
All right, Narstie, I'm going to open it up to questions that I'm receiving from your audience.
All right.
So, first question: how do you turn your hobbies into a career?
It should naturally happen. The hobby turns into a career when money gets involved into it. And this is the most realist thing here. Do you know how much nice-hearted, loving people, have turned to horrible, demonic monsters because of bad music money business?
Yeah.
Guys who started off as pure, who should only wear white because they're so pure. Do you know what I mean? But just because of greed, and bad business, it's tainted them. The deceit and the betrayal, what they've gone through, it's changed them as a person. They've lost that pure innocence about them. So now every time they make music or every time they go to a business deal, it's not about the deal anymore. It's just about not being screwed over. When you get into that way of thinking, it's very hard for you to progress because you're not thinking of anything to progress. You're just thinking of everything to protect yourself. The intentions and the mentality is a deep thing. What you're projecting out, if you're projecting out, I'm just going to get rich, I'm going to get rich, that's what's going to attract you. But if all you're thinking is, that's not going to happen to me again, that's not going to happen to me again, it stops you from letting people in, which can help you. Do you get what I mean? And it stops you from going forward for help. Because there's no person who's going to get from the bottom to the top all by himself without working with one person. It's impossible. You have to connect with people. Do you get what I mean? And people think it's only soldiers who suffer from PTSD. It's not soldiers who alone suffer from PTSD. Ciaran, how old are you?
I'm 28.
You're 28. So let's see, if from 12 to 28, 30 people have done you wrong, deceived you, and basically bumped you of your money in that.
Yeah.
Me being the 39th person to come into your life, the odds of you having any nice thoughts of doing good business with me is out the window, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I suppose at that stage you're going to not have any energy left, right, for people.
And this is the problem. You get what I mean?
So you feel like hobbies, when they turn into a career, it can be negative like that? Or...
Yeah, if you force it to be a career.
Yeah.
A hobby being forced to be a career can become negative. Yeah. Because remember, the reason why you're going to succeed in your hobby is because you enjoy doing it. Mm-hmm. The energy you put into doing your hobby is a pure energy. It's not of any undermining agenda. There isn't a hidden agenda out of you purely doing it to feel better. That's the reason why it works the way how it works. So the only way you keep that energy is by doing it pure. Mm. Like, fortunately for me, I have a team who handle my business side. If I had to sit and read all my contracts every night, I don't think I'd be as funny as I am.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Because it's true though. Because how can you keep yourself in an academic mind to make sure I don't miss any small print, that someone doesn't try to ruin me and clean me out, and handcuff me to my ankles, and do great material, make great music, do a good TV show? It's impossible. It's impossible. So the fact that I've managed to be able to let go and leave people in charge who can handle and do that, and make me be able to keep what I do as a hobby pure and focus on that. I go to the studio or music, whatever, and I'm in a happy mood. I feel happy. You get what I mean? Someone says, "What's your job?" Rah, I make money from being happy.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Yes, you can stick to doing what you love, and other people look after the boring stuff.
Cool, but you be aware of it. But then if I just said, "Rah, I'm just going to try and make this just to do that," it might not work in your favor.
Yeah, I hear that.
You got to keep the pure love of your hobby.
Thank you.
It's hard.
All right, next question. This is a difficult one. How do you keep working hard in school when a lot of other people aren't working hard?
Because you're not them, fam. Don't be a dickhead, fam. Forget them man there, cuz. Yeah? Well, when you came out of your mum, cuz you came out of your mum on your own, cuz. Yeah? None of your brethren came out of your mum with you, bro. Yeah? You was in the incubator, you was wrapped up in a towel. There was only one umbilical cord, cuz. Even twins come out separately. Yeah? So, it's real stuff, fam. Yeah? You just got to know your movie, yeah, and what you're looking to pattern out of this thing. Because the hurtful thing is this, yeah, we all got friends and stuff, yeah, but when I made up my mind that I was going to do music, yeah, not all of my friends came, "Hi, mate, sorry, daddy on TV." One moment, daddy on TV, okay? Sorry, kids just come through the door. Sorry, what else was I just saying?
So, like, how you keep working in school when a lot of others around you aren't. So when you started to go on TV. No. So I suppose just right now there's a lot of people around, young people who maybe are finding it difficult to focus.
Sorry.
What's your advice to young people who you're saying
you got to focus?
You're on your own, and you're on your own in life, and you've got to try and focus at school. How do you achieve that when other people might not be doing that if they're distracted?
Okay. Way how you got to focus, yeah? Because you got to know what your mission is, and you have to maintain your mission, fam. Because when I said I was going to do music, yeah, some of my friends fell off from me. And they didn't fell off from me in a bad way. They didn't want to be music.
Yeah.
Some of them wanted to be tradesmen. Some of them wanted to sell property. Some wanted to go into the army. Some wanted to do whatever they just wanted to do. And if you're a true mate, you can't force your mate to live your dream. You could have a friend who you've grown up with since 4. You've done everything together. Doesn't mean his dream has to be your dream. You could want to be a firefighter and he could want to be a pilot. If you are really his mate, you should encourage him in his dream the same way he should encourage you in yours. So hence why, don't worry what anyone else is doing. You've chosen what you want to do, knock your head down and just crank on, bruv. You get what I mean? If they're truly down for you, they would accept it.
I hear that. So what did you tell yourself when people said that you couldn't do what you wanted to do? So maybe early on there was someone saying that you couldn't make a career out of music, or there was a teacher that told you you wouldn't amount to whatever you wanted to amount to. What did you tell yourself when people said that? Like, what was the voice in your head saying?
All right, so boom, yeah. My school, yeah, Stockwell Park, yeah, like they closed it down there, yeah. The head teacher, yeah, of my school, yeah, said that, "Raw, Mr. Lindo, it wouldn't be surprising if you're either dead or in prison, yeah, because you and your friends come like the odor you get when you flush the toilet on society." Yeah. And then I was sent to college from like the age of 14, yeah, to Brixton Lambeth College from like 14, yeah. They had my cards written for me to be in Her Majesty's prison, yeah, or in a nice oak wood box in Norwood Cemetery, yeah. That was their statistics for me. I've surpassed all of that. Back to what I said to you from earlier in our conversation, of pure ignorance and stubbornness to my self-doubt. If I ever sat in a police station or got killed to just normal gangbanging, yeah, I would have proved all of these people right. They would be sitting up with their feet high up in that, drinking a rosé and prosecco, going, I told you, another statistic over my dead body that was going to happen. So many years later to come, South London Press asked me to go to my school, where my head teacher is now the head teacher of the new school, yeah? And my head teacher didn't want to meet me.
Oh, I swear.
No, she made someone else come, but she didn't want to meet me. Because how do you say that? If in the William Hill and the Paddy Power, she had 101 to odds that I was going to be a scumbag. You know what I mean? And she put all her chips in. So everyone out there, you've got someone like that. You know what I mean? And it's to you to prove them wrong. Are you going to be a nobody? Are you just going to be an average Joe sitting in the shop or on the wall? Or are you going to be awesome? It's up to you.
Yeah, for real. I'm going to answer this question too. I don't, I've had a lot of privilege in my life. I feel like I've had a lot of things going my way.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, I think we've got to be honest about it when it happens, right? A lot of people aren't. But at the same time, I feel like early on when I think in particular with youth work, the style of stuff I do with my youth work and then the style of writing I do has often been challenging for people that I've worked around, because I've tried to I've seen stuff not working and I've tried to change it quickly because I think it's urgent. And there's life and death issues on the line. And a lot of people haven't always been down with it because they're stuck in their ways, right? But I suppose for me, I've always, on the question of what did I tell myself when people said I couldn't do what I wanted to do, it's just always been staying true to what I believe to be right, and I think always coming with a smile, always coming friendly, always coming with respect to people, you can win them over time. And even if someone's not, for me, in my situation, in the context I'm describing with youth work and having an impact on young people's lives, just staying true to what I saw to be working and then communicating that in an appropriate way, for me, that's the way I've achieved that. So that's just how I've got through lots of different obstacles, people not wanting to listen to me when I've been trying to use different types of music to engage with young people, and them saying it was a problem, but then you see how powerful it can be, sticking true to that and making sure that the young people I work with are defining it as well. So that's what I say to that question. Yeah. What advice do you have for someone who is scared to start fulfilling their dream, but then thinks they'll fail? So someone's scared of failure. What advice would you give?
Back to what I said. You got to try. Don't matter if you fail. I hope you do fail. Because if you fail, then you can learn something and try again. Do you know what I mean? But without trying, there's nothing going to be accomplished. The most important thing, win or lose, is to try. Yeah. I sat on the block stairs with a 30p happy shop of lemonade, and my happy shop of custard creams, and a bag full of drawers and my zaggers, serving on the block, writing lyrics on an old school science book. Writing lyrics. All my friends are saying, "Oh, you're going crazy." Forget that. No way you're going to become a musician, bro. Who do you think you are, bro? Forget that. Yeah? I did it. Those same people who said I couldn't do it now are my biggest supporters. Do you get what I mean? So you just got to try. Just got to try. Nothing else, nothing more. 100% try. And then at least you can live with it. That raw. If it didn't work, fair play. But the worst thing about it, in my personal thing, is just to not know. What would send you more crazy? 30 years from now to just not know, bunning your zaggers, drinking a drink, and just be sitting there thinking, I just don't know if it could have happened because I just didn't try. Not because someone sabotaged you, not because you got halfway down the road and then you found out it was a money situation. Nothing of that, just because of the pure ethics of you just didn't try.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, drive you crazy potentially. I always try and whenever something goes wrong, I always try and, like, my first response now, having learned, you know, going through different stuff, is like what you said. It's not really about the winning or losing, or the like succeeding or failing in the first instance, because it's just about learning from that situation. And whenever there's an obstacle, it's like that is an opportunity to learn something for the future. So
definitely,
I hear it, because yeah, I think for me, you got to turn everything into a learning. Even if stuff's going really tricky, it's got to be a learning, and it's going to improve the future for you. So, yeah.
100%, big man.
Last question for both of us. What or who inspires you to do what you do?
Right now?
Yeah.
My children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. My children. It's a purpose, isn't it? And a legacy. Like, it's a blank page. Do you get what I mean? And also to have two things that fully depend on you from now until they're able to defend them and for themselves.
Yeah.
It's a deeper responsibility, man. And it's a great drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a great drive.
Yeah. For real. Okay. Yeah. For me, definitely. I mean, I mentor quite a lot of young people, but there are a handful, maybe 3 or 4, who are like little brothers to me. And, you know, the stuff that they've overcome is 10 times what I've had to overcome in my life, and I'm 10 years older than them. And so they inspire me every day to do what I do. Even having, you know, writing, youth work, everything is inspired by young people, because there's so many people that go through craziness and still make it through. And I think that strength is amazing. I didn't need that strength when I was younger, but they do. And yeah, that inspires me.
Powers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna close it there. There's one thing I've just got to say. So to anyone watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Our conversation. If you're completing the activity sheet, the color of the talk is honey. And make sure you subscribe to the Penguin platform channel for book chat and giveaways for all Penguin's teen and young adult books. Finally, please fill in the link to which is in the description below. Thank you for watching. And yeah, Narstie, do you want to have a closing little goodbye?
Big up people, you don't know, video to the world. Big up all the man them and the girl them and the yo them. Salute them. You get me? BigNarstie.com. More love, more energy. Stay well and stay safe. And get the book, How to Be Nasty.
Take care.